You know, in the world of military aviation, there are a lot of good planes. Some are effective, some last a long time, but only a very, very few become true legends. Today we're talking about one of those legends, the F-15 Eagle. And trust me, this isn't just a story about a jet. It's about a 50-year dynasty of air superiority, a design so good, so dominant, that it's still being reborn for the challenges of today. All right, let's just cut right to the chase with the one number that says everything you need to know about the F-15 Eagle. 104 plus. That's how many confirmed aerial victories the F-15 has racked up across the globe. It's an absolutely staggering number, for sure. But it's what's missing from that number that really tells the story. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. Over 100 confirmed kills and 0 losses in air-to-air combat. I mean, think about that. For half a century, through conflicts all over the world, no F-15 has ever been shot down by another plane in a dogfight. That right there, that's the stat that takes the Eagle from being just a great machine to a true icon of dominance. So how in the world do you create a legend like that? Well, it definitely doesn't happen by accident. The F-15 wasn't just dreamt up in some lab. It was basically forged from the really tough lessons learned in actual combat, where the stakes couldn't possibly be any higher. See, during the wars in Korea and especially Vietnam, American pilots were flying capable planes, but they were often multi-role aircraft. They were going up against these smaller, nimbler, Soviet-made MiGs, and the US Air Force had a huge realization. They had a gap. They needed a fighter that had one job and one job only, to completely, utterly, and totally own the sky. And that need gave birth to the Fighter Experimental Program, or as it was known, the FX program. The whole philosophy behind the F-15 was just brilliantly simple. The team at McDonnell Douglas had this mantra that they lived by, not a pound for air-to-ground. What that meant was that every single decision, every part of the design was laser-focused on air-to-air combat. They weren't trying to build a jack-of-all-trades. Nope, they were building the undisputed king of one very specific and very deadly trade. And wow, did that focus pay off. The Eagle's rise was incredibly fast. It had its first flight in 1972, and by 76, the first operational squadrons were already up and running. By 79, they were already rolling out the improved C and D models with better combat systems. Then, in 88, things took a really interesting turn with the F-15E Strike Eagle. We'll get to that in a bit. And incredibly, in 2021, a whole new chapter began with the F-15EX. So this isn't some dusty history lesson, it's a living, breathing story that's still unfolding. Okay, so that was the theory, a perfect design philosophy on paper. But now, let's look at how that translated into a combat record that is, frankly, unbelievable. Because earning a perfect record in the chaos of real war is what made the F-15 the undisputed king of the skies. The Eagle's reputation wasn't built at air shows, it was forged in the heat of these conflicts. Its baptism by fire really came with the Israeli Air Force over Lebanon in '82, where it just immediately proved how superior it was. But for the USF, the defining moment was Operation Desert Storm in 1991. F-15Cs just completely cleared the skies of the Iraqi Air Force. After that, it enforced no-fly zones in the Balkans and provided critical air cover for decades over Iraq and Afghanistan. And it all comes back to this incredible number, 104 plus. And you have to remember, this isn't just a high score in a video game. Each one of those represents lives saved on the ground, missions that succeeded, and a level of air dominance that literally shaped the outcome of wars. No other modern fighter jet even comes close to a record like that. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. It doesn't just end with the F-15 being the perfect dogfighter. In a huge testament to just how solid that original design was, the Eagle began to change, to transform. It evolved from that pure fighter into something much, much more. A versatile flying arsenal. You can see this evolution so clearly when you just look at the raw numbers. Let's take max takeoff weight. The original F-15A was about 25,000 kilograms. The F-15E and the new EX models, they're tipping the scales at almost 37,000 kilos. And that extra weight isn't just for show. It's more fuel thanks to things like conformal fuel tanks that hug the side of the jet, it's more advanced sensors, and it's a massive increase in the number of weapons it can carry. The plane literally grew into a heavier, more powerful, and way more capable platform. Now, the big turning point here was the F-15E Strike Eagle. This version took that original not a pound for air-to-ground rule and just shattered it in the most spectacular way you can imagine. It was totally redesigned for deep strike missions, carrying over 11,000 kilograms of bombs and missiles. It could fight its way to a target, blow it up with precision, and then fight its way back out. That was a capability very few aircraft in the world could even dream of matching. And that brings us to today, and what can only be called the rebirth of a legend, the F-15EX Eagle II. This is not just a fresh coat of paint. It is a complete technological revolution. It's got a brand new, state-of-the-art AESA radar, an incredibly advanced electronic warfare system called EPOWAS that can basically act as an electronic shield, a modern cockpit with a giant touchscreen display, and this last one is huge. Its airframe is certified for an incredible 20,000 flight hours. So the big question is, how does this reborn Eagle fit into a world that's all about 5th-gen stealth fighters like the F-35? Well, the comparison is pretty fascinating. The F-15EX, it can't hide from radar like an F-35 can, but its strengths are just massive. It can carry a mind-boggling 22 air-to-air missiles. Compare that to the F-35's 4 when it's in stealth mode. Its payload is way bigger, it costs less to fly per hour, and its airframe is built to last more than twice as long. It's not a stealth fighter, it's a powerhouse that's designed to work with them. And all of this brings us to our final and maybe the most interesting question of all. We've looked at its history, its perfect record, and its amazing evolution. But now we have to ask, in the 21st century, why does this 50-year-old design continue to not just fly, but actually thrive? And yeah, this is the central puzzle, isn't it? When stealth is the name of the game in modern air combat, why would the most advanced Air Force on the planet invest billions of dollars in a new version of an airframe from the 1970s? The answer actually tells us a whole lot about where air warfare is headed. The answer is all about teamwork. The F-15EX isn't supposed to replace stealth jets. It's designed to be their best wingman. Think of it as a missile truck. A stealthy F-22 or F-35 can sneak ahead, find the threats, and then use its data link to tell the missiles on an F-15EX, flying safely miles behind it, where to go. It's a proven, powerful, and pretty cost-effective way to multiply your firepower. And it's all packed with the latest tech to make sure it survives the fight. And this number, 20,000, it just underscores that commitment. 20,000 hours. That is an insane service life for a fighter jet like this. It's more than double the lifespan of many planes that came before it, and even its contemporaries. This isn't some short-term fix, it's a long-term investment that guarantees the Eagle is going to be soaring for many, many decades to come. And this isn't just a US Air Force thing either. Take a look at these projected retirement dates. The current F-15E Strike Eagle, expected to serve until at least 2035. The new F-15EX, well into the 2040s, maybe even hitting 2050. And key allies like Qatar and Saudi Arabia are flying their own advanced versions that are expected to be around for just as long. The Eagle's future is clearly both global and very, very long. You know, when you take a step back and look at the whole incredible story, you realize the F-15 is so much more than just a successful plane. Its core design, those powerful twin engines, that advanced radar, and that amazing bubble canopy, giving the pilot unparalleled visibility, it basically became the template for everything that followed. In a lot of ways, it's the conceptual ancestor of almost every modern fighter flying today. Its DNA is just baked into the DNA of modern air power. So let's end with this thought. The story of the F-15 is really a masterclass in design, in adaptation, and in staying relevant. It proves that a truly great design doesn't always have to be replaced. Sometimes it can be reborn again and again. It really makes you wonder, what is that secret ingredient, that perfect mix of performance and potential that lets a machine of war achieve a kind of immortality?